teacher, the first thing they can look at is how they organize the classroom. And this is something within the teacher's control. Children on the spectrum do better with structure and visual support. So I always recommend to teachers, look at some of the rules that you have in your classroom and create visual supports to go along those rules. So you want children to sit, quietly, keep their hands to themselves. Visual supports are helpful because when you give an instruction, once you say it, it's gone. But if you have a visual that's on the child's desk, that stays there after you've given that. So you're not having to repeat instructions and target one child over and over again. So that's something that teachers can prepare ahead of time, are visual supports of where do you want them to place their homework or how you want them to line up. All of those things we can be proactive in arranging a classroom. The other thing teachers should look at is the schedule. We want to have a schedule that has varied activities that keep children engaged. And so if we have long tasks that are challenging for children on the spectrum, for example, handwriting is often difficult. We want to break those tasks up into smaller parts. Instead of doing 30 minutes of a writing assignment, we may do 10 minutes of a writing assignment, and we might move on to another subject area, and then back to handwriting throughout the day. So the schedule being varied, and also including opportunities for children to get up and move around. Most children need that kind of movement activities, and we do too much sitting. And so teachers can rearrange so that their schedule or their classroom allows to work in a small group, and then we move to a large group, and then maybe we move to an area where we work independently or one-on-one with an adult. And so just the classroom arrangement is so important. The other part of the schedule and the visuals is not to have a classroom that's overly cluttered. And unfortunately, I know I was a classroom teacher for many years, and we tend to accumulate a lot of materials the longer we teach. And so I always tell teachers, we really need to look at those materials. Are they serving a purpose, or are they just cluttering up parts of your classroom? It can become very chaotic then, just with having materials, all the shelves are packed, and then putting all the children in there. So that's another strategy, is how we organize less materials in the classroom, having the visual supports. And the other thing I always tell teachers is think about how you give instructions. Children on the spectrum do well with clear and concrete instructions. Teachers tend to talk a lot. So they will talk for 10 minutes, and somewhere in that 10 minutes, they may give an instruction of what they want the child to do, to get out a book or to write something down. But because that information is embedded in a long period of discussion, children on the spectrum will tend to miss the instruction. And so I always tell teachers, clear and concise, keep them short. What do you want the child to do, and not embed your instructions in longer information.